Hey, greetings everybody. Leecon here again with another episode of Lore of Warcraft. And on our last episode, we broke the records. We almost had a 2-hour episode. It's like watching a movie. That, in hindsight, had I known it was going to be that dense going into it, I would have handled it differently. I would have maybe broken it down into 4 different episodes. And then I would have felt a little bit less guilty and glossed over the individual orc. But, you know, you live and learn. We probably won't ever get into a situation quite like that again, but if it ever came down to it and I curated things, I would reform that particular episode. That one required some voice training. So we're going to continue along. We're getting closer and closer into actually kind of exploring the game itself. And this one, if you want to stay a while, is called Chasing Visions. Yeah, and the cool thing about that and why it took so long is you can really see the Warcraft lore in its current form taking shape, and there, we basically had an entire first draft of War of the Ancients. We had an entire first draft of building up Northrend. We had recaps with very little distinctions in flavor of all of the first 2 wars in the expansion. And the period that we just did all this lore about leading into the Third War from the Orc and Human, or the Alliance and the Horde perspective. So, a lot of things going on. Let's see what this one's about. The new Horde faced an uncertain future. War Chief Thrall had liberated many of his people from the internment camps, but they were without a home. They lived as nomads, seeking out other orcs in Lordaeron and the surrounding lands while constantly moving to avoid human military forces. Another war with the Alliance seemed all but inevitable. The orcs looked to Thrall for answers, but he had none. Worry gnawed at his thoughts, and nightmares plagued his sleep. Night after night he envisioned the orcs falling to the Alliance in a brutal battle. He saw his people once again herded into prison camps and left to waste away. It was in this time of uncertainty that Medivh visited Thrall. He told the orc of a dark storm approaching Azeroth, a demonic invasion that would reduce all civilizations to ash. Medivh said that the only way for Thrall to stop the Burning Legion was to set out across the Great Sea to a land known as Kalimdor. The encounter with Medivh deeply troubled Thrall. Though he was too young to remember when the Legion had enslaved his people, he knew of demons. Older orcs like Orgrim Doomhammer and Grommash Hellscream had told him stories about how the Legion had nearly destroyed their race. Thrall feared that if he did not make a stand against the demons, the orcs might once again fall into slavery or suffer an even worse fate. So now he's got concerns coming from 2 sides, and he also has 2 synergistic forces pushing him toward Kalimdor. But Thrall was hesitant to put his trust in a stranger. He consulted the elemental spirits of fire, earth, air, and water for answers. Their response was urgent and immediate. Trust the stranger. For a shaman like Thrall, that was all the assurance he needed. Thrall hid nothing from his people. He told them of the journey that, I don't know why he didn't also approach the spirit of life or whatever it's called. Because I notice in our other lore books they don't touch on that as much, but in the last book we read, Lord of the Clans, that's a big one. Thrall hid nothing from his people. He told them of the journey that lay ahead and the enemy they would face. Many orcs were wary of embarking into the unknown, but they trusted their war chief. If not for him, they would all still be languishing in prison camps. Thrall rallied the new horde and set out to find a way across the sea. Which is essentially where the game begins, where Warcraft 3 starts off. The orcs getting ready to cross the sea. All right, cool. We got another episode in the pipe, 5x5. We could probably dip our toes in just the first little training levels of the game. Maybe. We'll see. I look forward to doing that next time on Lore of Warcraft.